Welcome back, everyone. All you Splitty City slickers out there. It's another edition of my live chat. Um, you may notice that my beard is gone. That's right. That's right. The beard is gone. I no longer look like a Russian man from the Caucasus Mountain. Um, anyway, another episode of my live chat. It's episode 3. Before we get right into it, some things I wanted to talk about straight away is yesterday's MMA Nerd. Thank you, everyone who watched that. Thank you to Sean and Barter for participating in the show. If you guys would like to participate in the show, hit me up. Can'twait98 at gmail.com. MMA Steez on Twitter. Combat Steez on Instagram. There's a question about Ultimate Fighter losers who had went on to become champions. Somebody informed me that Raquel Pennington also had lost the Ultimate Fighter and went on to become champion as well. So I did forget to include her. Shout out to Rocky Pennington. But yeah, this is a live chat. We're gonna answer some of your guys' questions that you sent to me in the community post. We'll get right into that here shortly. We're gonna check out some MMA news. We're just looking on MMA Fighting's latest headlines. Check out what they got going on. We'll talk about that. And then, we'll look into what's going on this weekend. This weekend is interesting because usually there's a lot of events going on during the week. And it looks like Friday is really where MMA starts picking up and taking off. A lot of regional shows took last week off. So it looks like they're back in full effect this weekend. So yeah. And then, if you guys want to have any questions about Israel Adesanya, we'll kind of get into what he should do next and what's next for his career. Because he looked so good in the fight and then just kind of got a flash knockdown. And not here to say that, the stoppage was a bunch of crap. It was a little early. But yeah, I still think he's got gas left in the tank, but we'll talk about it. So let's start off with the questions. We got quite a few more questions than we've ever gotten. So that's awesome. I always wanted to have a live chat where just people were asking questions. The first couple episodes I didn't have any questions. So, and what is up, Kobe? Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. So we got from last week's thread, we've got what's your favorite MMA fighter? Oh, who's my favorite MMA fighter and why? So I got a couple. Fedor, Nick Diaz. But really the fighter that got me into combat sports was Khabib. And the reason is because I just thought it was so cool that this guy, like, at the top level of the sport was so respectful, so humble. Like the fact that he didn't drink, didn't smoke. Seemed like a really nice, humble guy. And obviously towards the end of his career, he did the smart thing and exited at an appropriate time where he didn't have a bunch of CTE. So yeah, Khabib definitely would be one of my favorite fighters, just personality and all that wise. But Fedor and Nick Diaz are two of my favorites just because of everything they did in the sport and their style. Fedor, kill or be killed. Kind of an undersized heavyweight, but achieved so many great things in the sport. And I mean, you could make the case that Fedor maybe wasn't like, you could take the Dana White stance on Fedor and just be like, hey, he fought all those fixed fights over in Japan. But either way, the guy was always exciting. He always brought the fight. So yeah, I always loved Fedor for that reason. But Nick Diaz just never cared what anybody thought about him. And another guy, just blood and guts, always went in for a good fight, unless it was with Anderson Silva. Nick Diaz talked about the UFC selling wolf tickets, and I've always thought that Nick Diaz was one of the biggest sellers of Wolf tickets that's ever been. Always went in there promising, a scrap, and towards the end of his career didn't deliver on it, but his fight with Paul Daly, one of the best one round fights in history of MMA, and yeah, always loved Nick Diaz for that. Kind of worried about him these days, but yeah, Fedor and Khabib definitely got to be two of my favorites. Kobe asks, "How is it like doing shows with Hank? Do you enjoy it?" So obviously, I think we started this show immediately following UFC 300, and I mean that was quite a while ago now. So it's coming up on a year, and I mean, you guys have seen it if you've been following this show long enough. Like, we've got into it on the chat. Um, Sometimes I get pissed, sometimes he gets pissed, and we've had our ups and downs for sure. And especially heading into rebranding the show, um, we had our ups and downs a lot. But I think that things have started to level out. We're both getting into our groove on what we want to do as content creators. So I think that just naturally things are falling into place, and we're in a better place. So yeah, as far as do I enjoy it, of course I enjoy it, or I wouldn't even be doing it. Um, but I think that whenever you have like this podcast, one thing you got to understand is this particular podcast here is unlike anything that I'm aware of um, on MMA YouTube, because usually it's just like one guy and his opinions, and that's all you get. But this podcast is different because you've got two guys with two completely different ways of what they want to do, content wise. Two ways of talking about fights, breaking down fights. Hank does a lot of research. I don't. I just kind of wing it. Um, just go off the feels. But I try to bring analysis into it though, regardless. Like I look at stats and all that stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, you got to consider that this show is so unique in that you have two different people running it. It's both of our YouTube channel, so that's gonna create some creative conflict, constructive criticism on either ends, and just figuring out how to deal with that as the channel grows and goes further is really the tough part of the show, because I've spoken to a friend of mine who is like a consultant for people's podcasts, and he told me that most podcasts don't even make it past the 10th episode. So here we are. I think I checked. I think we've got like 220 videos on the channel. So yeah, it's like, it's definitely interesting. But yes, I do enjoy it, and happy to see both of us just kind of getting into our groove with what we want to make content wise, and we're going to continue to do that and grow as the channel grows. But again, it's all about, oh shit, there's my mic. It's all about like the support you guys give us, and like we're gonna do what sticks and what you guys like. So, but yeah, thanks for the question, Kobe. We have another question from Cool Breeze. He says, "What's your favorite MMA based movie?" So I have not watched a lot of MMA based movies. Like I can't remember the name of that one. Does Roadhouse count? I know a lot of people hated Roadhouse when it came out. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining, but as far as like a blockbuster hit movie, obviously Roadhouse with Conor McGregor wasn't designed to be like this banger movie that was like gonna win an Oscar, right? So anyway, but as far as my favorite MMA based movie, I guess I'm going with a cheap cop out and just saying, hey, Bruce Lee movies. Bruce Lee movies. Even though it wasn't like MMA, um, he was one of the first guys out there like preaching, like, hey, um, go to all different forms of martial arts and take what works from that and implement it. Now, obviously, when when he fought Chuck Norris, he wasn't kind of messed up there. When he fought Chuck Norris in God, what was that movie called? In the Roman Coliseum. Uh, was there a lot of MMA involved in that? I think probably not. Um, but yeah, dude, Bruce Lee always had the best movies. I've seen all of his movies, and too bad. What was it, Game of Death wasn't finished? Um, but yeah, my favorite Bruce Lee movie would have to be obviously that one where they're in the Roman Coliseum is pretty sweet. Um, but I think it's Enter the Dragon when they go to the island. Which, by the way, the Mortal Kombat movie, it's the same exact movie. Literally the same exact movie. Like almost down to like it's the same story, the same kind of guy they have to defeat. I mean, okay, think about it. In both movies, they go to an island where a martial arts tournament is being held. And anyway, check it out though. There's a really good YouTube video on it. They're literally the same exact movie. But yeah, I'd have to say Bruce Lee movies are my favorite martial arts movies. Um, so going into the other thread, those are the questions from last week. Thank you for submitting questions. This newest thread that was posted yesterday, by the way, always going to post on Sunday. Before MMA Nerd premieres on Sunday, we're always going to post a thread and just ask you guys to submit questions. So, Cool Breeze says, would you be intimidated if you showed up to date Carolyn Dubois only to find out her entire family are fighters? Well, let's see. I don't know who that is. Let's check it out. Carolyn Dubois is a British professional boxer? Okay, so as far as Carolyn Dubois goes, I mean, not my type, decent looking lady, but would I be intimidated if I showed up to a chick's house and I found out all her family was fighters? Would I be intimidated? I mean, look, I'm gonna just go ahead and say no because I ain't that type of dude. You know what I'm saying? But I guess there is always that risk in the back of your mind that you could be dealing with with getting your ass kicked if you ever hurt her, right? So, but I would try my best not to. Thank you for that question, Cool Breeze. Charlie Bronson says, which by the way, this is my homie Nick. He says, "Is car jujitsu the next power slap?" I don't even know how to answer that because I think car jujitsu, as dumb as it is, and also there's like that thing called high rollers, right, where they like smoke a joint before they fight or they roll, I guess. I don't even know what this question is asking. Is it the next power slap? Well, I would say power slap is its own weird thing that is just like an anomaly in the world of combat sports. So I'm gonna go ahead and say no, but it is pretty dumb. But I would say power slap is like much, much, much stupider than car jujitsu ever could be. But I think that power slap is actually much more popular than car jujitsu. I don't even know where you watch car jujitsu, to be totally honest. Yeah, thank you for that question, Nick. Nick also asks, I bought a Violent Bob Ross shirt a long time ago. Is it okay to wear since people wear John Jones swag still? I don't think anyone will know anything about I don't think anyone knows anything about Violent Bob Ross. If you go wear that at like a UFC show or like an MMA show, probably not the best idea. But yeah, you know what? Wear it out. If you like the shirt, it's comfy. You do your thing, my friend. I wouldn't say it's a good idea, but hey, you know what? Sometimes you got a comfy shirt. You just got to rock that thing. Kobe asks, for a stream to do with Hank, what has been your best one yet? So I liked the fast food tier list. That was a really fun show to go. That's still up in our live section. Also thinking about making playlists where we put every category of show we have in a playlist. But yeah, the tier lists that we did for the heavyweight lineal champions on Christmas Eve, that was an awesome stream. And then the tier list where we did all the fast food places, that was a really fun stream. The K1 or the Rise watch along we did, Rod Tang versus Tension. I think that's been taken down, but that was a fun stream as well. But I like doing our show. I like doing our show that we do every week, which will be going down again tomorrow, where we just kind of preview and talk about all the fights. So that's what I started the channel to do, was just that show. But yeah, that's gonna be my favorite. But shout out to Nick for that question. And then last question is from Pulse Reloaded. Shout out to Houston, Texas. He says, "Would you rather have $5 million right now, or have the ability to go back to being a first grader while possessing all the knowledge you have now?" That's a tough question, so we got to kind of weigh that one out. So I was a bad kid in about first grade. You know what? I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and my childhood was very interesting. Seen a lot of things really early on, but I'm very thankful for how my childhood went. And I guess, this question is like this hypothetical world. You retain all the knowledge and, you stay with all that stuff. But I don't regret, even though I did a lot of messed up stuff and there's things I do regret, I'm thankful for how my past was. So I'm going to go ahead and say, give me that 5 milli. Give me that 5 milli right now. So, all right. So those are all the submitted questions. If you guys have any other questions that you want to type in the chat while I'm live, I will answer them. But thank you, Kobe. Thank you everybody who asked questions in the live or in the community post. But let's get into what's going on this weekend. Let's get into that. Let me change some of the graphics here. Let's go with this one. Let's see. Let's get into what is happening this weekend. Okay. So, like I said, not really a lot happening until about Friday. And that's when we get our first regional show. Fury FC 101 is going down on Friday in Dallas. So Fury FC, man, I always like all the cards they do. They always put on a really good show, very entertaining. Lots of good fights for the regional level. But yeah, I would say, man, Fury FC 4 p.m. Eastern. That's a decent watch. Obviously, Invicta will be happening after that, and then there's an LFA in Brazil, which I've heard that LFA in Brazil is always a banger. But obviously, what's going to be a real banger is Friday Fights 28. Let me click this actually, because this Progentai is back. Progentai, he's defending his belt. Wow. Kong Thorny is back. Nago is back. Sean Clamaco, who had a really good fight with Johann Estupion in Denver at this show right here. Lito Adiwang, that's sick. Samapech, so sick. Felipe Lobo, wow. This is a stacked card. That'll be so cool. So that's actually going down at night. That's not Friday fights. That's not the proper Friday fights. Might have to see what Phil's up to and do a little breakdown for that one. That'll be sick. So that'll be going down Friday night. So Friday is pretty packed with LFA, Fury, and one. But something else to get into is Uriah Faber's A1 Combat out of California. Those shows are always pretty decent. Shout out to Isha for putting me on to that. And then there will be Shoot Boxing, which you can't watch because it's on Unext, or is it on Abema? There is Eternal MMA, which I've heard very good things about Eternal. It'll be on at 4 a.m. That's I'll consider that one. I'll consider that one. Consider finding a stream and doing a fight companion for that one, bringing some of the Aussie audience. There is King of Kings on, and King of Kings has been awesome as a kickboxing promotion in their last couple events. This will be going down in Riga, Latvia. They're actually doing MMA bouts and boxing matches, which I was thinking about tuning into it until I found out that. So that's a bummer. I wish they would just stick to kickboxing. But yeah, that'll be going down Saturday at noon. And then you've got Chisora versus Otto Wallin. I know Jay from Rush Hour will be doing that. That'll be a sick fight. Both guys, I'm gonna pick Otto Wallin to beat him. And then there's the BKFC event in Newcastle. Let's check out that card. So it looks like Carl Thompson. I don't know what champ he even is. It's basically just a bunch of Brits and Europeans on the card. But that's sick. I'm glad that they're out there in England doing some shows. Shout out to Feldman. Will you guys cover UFC 312? Of course. Yeah. No doubt about it. Bet your money we'll be on that. For sure. I don't know exactly who's gonna cover it, but it'd probably be Hank. Because yeah, and we'll go ahead and I'll save this card over here. We'll kind of look at that at the end of the show, and I'll give you some early picks for that one. Pro Box Fight Night on Saturday. I thought they were on Wednesdays, but they have been switching. I think they're doing more shows, and they'll be doing Saturday shows. So, King of the Cage is still around. Oh my gosh, there is Deep Kick going down. They got 2 shows this weekend. I wish you could actually watch them because I literally don't think there's a way to even watch them. Something really to talk about though. And I almost feel bad for even bringing this up, but there is a K1 event. It's a K1 World Max. Jeez. It's a women's atomweight Grand Prix. Okay. And you've got so many fights on this freaking card, man. Dude, I will cover this. There's Daryl Verdonk on it. I watched him fight. See if I can recognize any other names on this card. No, I don't recognize any names. But Akihiro Kaneko. I think he's the champ. He'll be defending his belt. Let me see. And the main event, I don't know who that is, but it'd probably be Kaneko in the main event or the conclusion to the tournament. But if we look at it, it says no U.S. broadcast. 23 kickboxing matches. What's up, Nick? He says, I'm late. You're just a little late, my friend, but I did answer your questions. Thank you for all the questions. Hold on, we got to switch this up. Somebody keeps switching this up. Let me see. There it is. Okay, but there's a K1 going down this weekend. Saturday, 9:30 Eastern. That'll probably go well into like 5 in the morning. All right, listen. So I said I wouldn't try to find a link for K1. I said I was done trying to find links for K1, but I'm probably going to try. Okay, I know for a fact there will be free prelims on YouTube, on K1's YouTube channel, which it's like, why can't they just broadcast the whole thing on YouTube? Make me pay $10 for it, K1. I'll buy that, I love K1. But yeah, you know what? I'll probably just do a live for that, cover it as much as I can, and then I'll give it a shot. But let me see, because I think if it's Saturday at 7:30 my time, and the UFC starts at 4, uh, I might just do it anyway. I'm sure they'll have at least a YouTube stream for some of it. So yeah, I'll probably try and cover that because even if you just do the prelims and you're just on stream looking for a link, like those are literally some of our most viewed shows. Um, so yeah, I'll probably go against my better judgment and just try and attempt to watch K1. What is up, Denial? He says mustache ups the Mexican level 10 points, especially when I do this. Hey, you know what I'm talking about, Holmes? Thank you, Denial. Appreciate it. But yeah, so that's the weekend, right? That right? That's the weekend right there. Um, man, I just wish we could watch K1. There's Deep Kick again. You can't watch that. Thanks a lot, Abima, for not even broadcasting Deep. Um, but yeah, let's talk about the card of the weekend. It is UFC 312. That's the main portion for the weekend. There's lots of regional stuff. There's other stuff from Japan we can't watch, but yeah, it is UFC 312 fight week. So first fight, oh geez, will be Hun Sung Park. I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who this. Oh, this is that one guy from like, where is he from? Mongolia, somewhere around there. Anshul Jubilee is back. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Get ready to get raided. All MMA channels that are doing that, get ready to get raided by Anshul Jubilee fans trying to find a link. Japan is screwing themselves so hard to find sports can't grow without eyes. Neither can the organizations. Exactly. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it sucks. But what are you gonna do? At least we can watch Ryzen, right? And Rise. Ryzen and Rise. That's all we can watch. But yeah, Anshul Jubilee is back. Hilarious. Taking on some guy I've never heard of. And then we got Kevin Jousset versus a guy I've never heard of from Australia. Cody Steele versus Rongju. Rongju looked really good in his last fight. I think his eye like swelled up so much because one of the I can't remember who it was, but dude landed an elbow right in his eye. Brutal stuff. And then you've got the brother of Ilya Taporia making his debut against a guy named Colby Thickness. He's the number one bantamweight in Australia. Okay. So I heard that Taporia. I watched some tape on him, and he looks like. Oh, you know what? I don't even have this up. My apologies. He looks like his style is just like Ilya's, but let's just be honest. Dude fought a whole bunch of cans. Like Ilya Taporia's brother, like fought a lot of cans. But he looks good, and you can only fight who's in the cage with you. So I am excited for his debut, but I'm just I'm keeping my hopes low, and I'm gonna probably pick him to win by decision. Denial says, and they have a better product than a lot of regionals we are dedicated to. Oh my gosh. Every time there's a show in Japan, it's just a banger. So I wish we could watch it, but anyway. In regards to Taporia's brother, Denial says, clean boxing. I don't know what his ground game looks like though. Yeah. And he fought a bunch of cans, so I'm just like, I'm not really sure. Kong Wang is back against Bruno Brazil. You'd think that'd be a straight up striking match, so that'll be fun. Still got hopes for Kong Wang. And hey man, one day makes a difference in this sport, so I'll probably root for Kong Wang. Tom Nolan versus Vyacheslav Borshev. That'll be a sick fight. That'll be a really sick fight. That's a close one too. Jack Jenkins is back versus Gabriel Santos. I've seen both of them fight. I'm not putting a name. I know Jack Jenkins has like a mullet. Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. Wow, that's a sick fight. That is a sick fight. Jake Matthews, man, been in the UFC for a minute, still really young, but Francisco Prado is like just a dude that's just killer be killed. Always fun to watch. That'll be a really fun fight. And so will Jimmy Crute versus Rodolfo Bellato. I'll have to check out their records to make a pick on that one, but I'm gonna lean Bellato, but this is in Aussie land, and usually the Aussie fighters step up. We've got Taliesin Teixeira versus Justin Tafa, who, by the way, has pretty similar mustache to me in this picture. And he is the underdog in that fight, and for a good reason. I'm going to pick Taliesin to knock him out because I cannot stand the Tafa brothers anymore at this point. King Kong Wang. Every Jake Matthews fight is fun, dude. You're 100% right, Dano. You're 100% right. Jimmy getting slept, doing to be over aggressive. Yeah. Can you really trust the guy that got knocked out by Anthony Smith? This is a real question. And then obviously the two events that really matter on this dreadful pay-per-view. You've got Weili versus Tatiana Suarez. Hard to pick against Weili in general. I think Tatiana is looking like maybe the best person in the division to beat her. But Janelle says Tafa dudes have arguably gotten worse while in the organization, which is like WTF. There's no way they utilize the PI. Is there a PI out in Australia? But yeah, I would totally agree with you, Denial. They've gotten worse somehow. They don't work on their wrestling. They're just there to throw hands. But you gotta love them for that. But as far as like picking them to win or like betting on them, I would advise against that. But yeah, you're right. Somehow they gotten worse over time. But yeah, Weili Zhang versus Tatiana. Tatiana probably has the best chance to beat Weili in the division at this point because Weili has already kind of run through the rest of the division besides Yan Zhaonan. So she has looked vulnerable in some of her last couple fights. Obviously getting knocked out by Rose too. Having a close fight with her in the rematch. But Tatiana Suarez is just, again, I started watching around 2019, so I really haven't seen too many Tatiana Suarez fights. I think I've actually picked against her in a couple of her fights, and she's got it done. So, that wrestling is undeniable from her. She is a high level wrestler. I just think that Weili is just so much more athletic than all of these girls. Also, Tatiana Suarez's last fight, she came in pretty out of shape. Again, this is a title fight. I don't think she'll be out of shape for this one, but I have my doubts on Tatiana Suarez, and I think we just know exactly what Weili is going to do. I think that Tatiana Suarez will be a little bit bigger than her. So that's something to consider. But I am interested in that fight. I think I'm going to pick Weili to get that one done. No, but tons of guys stay in Vegas just to use the gym, or at least their camps for fights in the States. It's a free gym. Training, no excuse. IMO, especially if you're a small gym. Yeah. No, we're in agreement. I don't know what the Toffer brothers have been doing as far as training goes. I won't be against Weili unless it's against Rose. Yeah. And she almost, that was a close fight, her last fight with Rose. And then the main event, DDP versus Sean Strickland. So I had actually had Sean Strickland winning their last fight. I think probably most people did. But it was a close fight. Man, dude, I don't even know who to pick. I'm going to pick DDP. Just because I just favor him. I think he's got more skills. I think he's leveled up too since beating Izzy to some degree. Denial says it's DDP's time as much as I want it to be Sean's for the mic time. Sean won't last one IMO as wow. So Denial actually has DDP to finish Sean Strickland. Dude, I thought the same thing. In their last fight. But yeah, I just think he's leveled up more. And as you said, it's his time in the sport. Gosh, I have no idea. Dude, I didn't even know. I love DDP because he's just this fighter that looks like he could just lose at any second. And I don't even know how good he is. You know, he's the champ, and I'm still like, how good is this guy? You know, Sean Strickland. Obviously, we know what he's gonna bring. He's gonna bring that technical, like kickboxing, high pace, high pressure, high volume. But I thought their last fight, like Sean controlled the pace of the fight. That's kind of what Curtis and Strickland do in fights is they control the pace and make you fight them on your terms. So you know what? I would be lying if I said I was like hyped for this fight because I don't really care. Like it should be Hamza fighting DDP, right? Like what are we doing? DDP is a freight train, and we all know when guys get the belt, they get a little better via confidence. Yeah, no one has tested him besides Sean, really. Yeah, I mean Izzy. I would say Izzy tested him, but it doesn't matter because DDP, like you said, is just a freight train. I'm interested in the outcome of the fight, and like I'm gonna be watching. I'm interested in the fight, but I'm not like really hyped for the fight because I feel like it should just be Hamza in there fighting DDP, right? Like, what are we doing? What is up with Hamza? And he subbed Robert Whitaker in a round, and they're just like, you know what? Let's do DDP versus Strickland again. Like, to be fair to the UFC, I mean, Sean Strickland is a guy who has done them a lot of favors. He's stepped up and saved cards, and yeah. So I understand, I guess, putting him in this title fight. Janelle says, I still don't believe in Hamza. I think if he makes it to the cage, he's going to win, most likely. Him versus DDP is a fight I am really hyped for. I think he's the rightful number one contender, but as you said, you still don't believe in him. Maybe the UFC doesn't either. Nick says, I bet is normal. It's normal. That finish was such a weird thing. I don't know. A fight never really even happened. That's so true. Like Robert Whitaker never actually fought Hamza. He kind of just got taken down and subbed. Like no fight actually took place between the two of them. But Hamzat's a freight train too. He's like a bullet train, and DDP is like an old, freight liner. Old reliable freight liner. He snapped and he was done. Dude, you're telling me, dude. I don't even like talking about that because Bobby Knuckles is one of my favorite fighters. But yeah, anyway, I think it should be DDP in there. I'm going to pick DDP in the fight, but I think it probably goes 5 rounds again. DDP is the little engine that could. Exactly. That's him. Going up the hill, but he has a lot less of a tank, and the old train keeps chugging. Yeah, 100%. But what is your guys' pick for Strickland versus DDP? I know Denial has him getting finished, or sorry, has DDP finishing Strickland. I think it'll go to decision. I would love to, dude. I don't like Sean Strickland. I'm not a fan of him whatsoever. I'm somewhat of a fan of DDP. I like the guy in the cage. I like that he just seems like he's gonna lose at any second. Nick says, I think it's a close decision again, dude. Same. But dude, this is MMA. Crazy stuff happens. I'm gonna pick DDP by decision. So yeah, those are the fights of the weekend. We're gonna try to watch K1. That'll be hilarious watching me struggle to find a stream for that. So tune in. But just know I'm rooting for Sean. Hey, teach their own, man. Look, if you like Sean Strickland, go right ahead, man. I don't really care if you're a fan of any fighter, unless it's Hank being a fan of Steve Urseg for literally no reason at all. And I get like you just wanted to see Pantoja lose, but then to claim that like Steve Urseg is like the savior of the flyweight division and he's your favorite fighter now and you really are a fan of him, it's like why? Anyway, yeah, if you're a fan of any fighter, teach their own. I'm out on the Sean Strickland fan base, not for me. Yeah. It's like blue cheese. Sean Strickland's like blue cheese for me. It's like yeah, I'll eat it with like certain meals, but like I'm not if I have to, I ain't getting no blue cheese. Nick says even if DDP kisses his coach, that's okay with me. Sean could use some love. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Urseg messed up with that takedown attempt. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, those are the fights of the weekend. Let's quickly talk about some of the headlines we've got. Dude, I love blue cheese. Of course you would. You're from Omaha. Maybe Eric Nixick should kiss Sean, dude. You guys might be onto something. Maybe if Sean Strickland just had a little more love, who knows where he could go. But yeah, I mean, of course Nick likes blue cheese. I mean, and you're a white guy, and you're from Omaha, so that doesn't surprise me. Omaha 10, Idaho 5, right? Oh, I think I cut out there for a second. Omaha 10, Idaho 5, right? All right, so let's get into some of these headlines here. So it looks like blue cheese sucks. Yes. Someone fired Sean's dad to give him find Sean's dad to give him a hug. Oh, jeez. All right. So let's get into some of these headlines. They say that Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford reportedly agreed for a massive fight in September. I don't even like talking about that one. Boise 7s or Omaha 6s. I mean, now we're just splitting hairs. I don't even like talking about this fight because it's been rumored for a minute. Canelo versus Bud. And I don't even really want to see that fight. But you know, Canelo, he's a businessman at this point in his career. He's going to take easiest fight for the biggest payday. And payday. Sorry. Payday. Payday. You want payday? Bud needs to call out old man Mayweather for an ass whooping. I've heard that they've trained together and it didn't go well for Floyd. Crawford getting handled, IMO. Canelo slow, plays it, and catches him late. Crawford too small. Exactly. That's pretty much where I'm at, Denial. Like, I don't really have interest in the fight. And I don't think Canelo would even fight Bud unless he knew he could win and make a bunch of money. I mean, and to be honest, though, like, Bud isn't even really a draw. I know people probably going to cook me for that, but Bud's not a draw. If he's in Omaha, he's going to sell out. But he main evented a stacked card in L.A. that Turkey Al Sheik funded, and they're never going to do that again because they lost money on Bud. So like Bud is not a draw. It's an interesting fight. It will be a big fight. They're saying massive fight, but it's like, dude, it's because Canelo's fighting, and he's actually fighting a name. Oh my gosh, that was so funny. You're a horrible fighter. Bud is like Mighty Mouse, great fighter, can't draw. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I mean Bud knocks people out too, but There was a time in his career where he was just going to decisions, and he was on a sick knockout streak at like the height of his popularity. But I mean, Bob Arum was right when he was like, "Dude, I could have bought however many houses if I hadn't have promoted this guy. All the money I spent promoting him." I believe Bob Arum. I truly do. I mean, Canelo's first couple years, English was just swearing at people. Yeah, 100%. But yeah, I think Bud's a little too small, and Canelo beats him probably pretty easy. But don't count out the fact that Bud is a fantastic athlete, fantastic boxer, and he has a really good team behind him. Could Bomac maybe come up with some game plan to beat Canelo? Yeah, but I don't know. I don't even really care about that fight. DDP reveals bone-chilling mindset about willingness to kill a man in front of his family in a fight. Oh, jeez. I guess that's where you got to be at to get into a cage fight. Tatiana Suarez calls her fight against Zhang the real main event. Oh, sure, sweetheart. I'm sure that's the real main event. Michael Page knew Charles Bullet was never going to do anything to beat me after round one. Also, I heard that I don't know how true this is. I don't know how true this is, but I heard that Shara Bullet is retiring. That could have been some fake MMA headline. He also said he was sick fighting in the cage that night. I know you're a Benoit Saint Denis, but don't even try to deny it. Dude, if I was Benoit Saint Denis, I would have a much better setup than this in the corner of my living room. But shout out to you, Sniff. I actually, if you guys didn't notice, I did change change it around. I have a much more comfortable setup now. Got a Bluetooth keyboard. Got me a sweet little Bluetooth mouse, so don't need to be all up in the business. But yeah, good to see you, Sniff. Good luck avoiding that left hook, Canelo. Or Crawford, yeah, 100%. Canelo's just like a Terminator. He just plots forward, looks for that left hook. Did you see Garcia called Pitbull just a target practice after he won last weekend? Dude, that fight was so amazing, and it didn't have any business being that amazing. I thought Pitbull was going to knock the dude out. BSD ate bad snails and got a tummy ache. All right. Cartman has a sick hat on. Yeah, let's see if we can scroll over to that. Look at that. There he is. Fuck yeah. Gotta love Cartman. Got this sweet little remote for my webcam as well. Let's see. Garcia gonna wreck him after what I saw out of Pitbull last couple fights. Dude, Ryan Garcia is a wild card. You never know. I never know what exactly he's gonna do. I probably would pick old Lion Ryan to beat Pitbull, but I mean it's funny because it's like it's easy to call out boxers when you don't have a promoter. You don't have a deal with anybody. So who even knows what Ryan Garcia is going to do next? Ryan's a great boxer, just a dumbass kid. Oh yeah, facts. Big facts. I don't know about great boxer, but yeah. Yeah, let me know if you guys heard that thing about Shara Bullet being retired. Estadimivas talk surprise he had for Israel decided cleaning out the division. Okay. Tom Aspinall recent heavyweight fights absolutely stinks. Calls for the division to be moved along. Hilarious. Well, not everybody is as exciting as you, Tom. Patty Pimblett cleans up sparring chokeout controversy. All is fair in love and war. Sean Strickland's head coach reacts to critics of having Alex Burrett in the corner at UFC 312. He's going to have Alex cornering him? What the hell? Who is this young mustachio Mario from Mario Bros? Hilarious. It's a me, a Mario. There you go. He re-entered Vada. Okay, not great, but that left hook is what makes up for any skill he lacks. Yeah, I just don't. I think if Ryan is locked in mentally, he's a threat. But I don't know, dude. I don't really give a shit about Ryan Garcia. I know everybody likes him, but and I'm Mexican and I don't care about Ryan Garcia. I always played as Luigi. Well, Nick, I got something for you. Couldn't get Mario without also getting old Luigi up in there as well. Yeah, I don't even care. But yeah, Alex Burr is gonna corner Sean Strickland. What the hell? Why? What's the reason? What's the reasoning behind that? You know what? I'm actually gonna click on that article. Now you got me. You got me there, MMA fighting. Let's see what the article has to say. According to Sean Strickland's head coach, not everybody had a positive reaction to the news that UFC light heavyweight champ and past Strickland opponent Alex Burr will be in the corner for the main event of UFC 312. Blah 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 blah. Ahead of the fight, Nick revealed that Pereira would be in Strickland's corner, which led to some criticism. The Extreme Couture head coach explained the no-brainer decision. He was going to be out there. So Nick told MMA Fighting. It was just one of those things where we were looking at the corner and I knew he's going to be out there and Johnny Eblin couldn't make it. I was hoping to have him in the corner myself and Danny Davis will be there. I don't even know who that is. It was just a matter of convenience. And these two guys that really trust one another, Sean went out there to help him get ready for Khalil Roundtree. And this is what people don't really understand. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. I understand that. Hey, good to see you, Denial. Thanks, man. Chama, I think the aura Alex brings, yeah. No, it makes more sense. I didn't know that Sean Strickland had already helped. I did see footage of them training together, but I didn't know Sean Strickland had helped Alex prepare for Khalil. So yeah, that makes sense. Michael Bisping on Israel Adesanya's future after latest loss. It's over. It's his time at the top is done, dude. It's probably right. Izzy says, I'm still alive after reacting to watching knockout loss to Nasser Imavov. Okay. The ref is cheating. Combat Sport World reacts to David Benavidez and David Morales. Fight of the year contender. Dude, that was 100% fight of the year. If you guys haven't seen David Benavidez versus David Morrell, go back and watch that. That was an amazing fight. Sharga Madamedov fought Michael Page UFC with a nightmarish health condition. A nightmarish health condition, the first statement. Yeah, buddy, you're blind. Oh, Bryce Mitchell. Oh gosh. Yeah. All right. Well, since we brought up Izzy, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Michael Bisping saying he should retire. He's done. I want to hear your thoughts on Izzy. What do you guys think Izzy should do next? As far as a fight is concerned, I'd like to see Izzy get his back with Sean Strickland. Personally, that's something that interests me. If we go here to the UFC rankings, though, let's see. Go to middleweight. You've got Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya. I think tomorrow those rankings will change. Obviously, DDP the champ. Hamzat at 3, Whitaker at 4, Nasruddin at 5, Baralio at 6, Vittori at 7, Cannonier at 8, Brendan Allen at 8 or 9, Delidze at 10, Costa at 11, Hernandez at 12, Hermanson 13, Chera Bullet and Michelle Pereira at 15. So when you look at a fight in the top 15, him and Allen makes sense to me. Him versus well, no. I think you should match him up with someone coming off a loss. Him and Allen are... Maybe you do the Costa fight again, or maybe you give him Michelle Pereira. That would be fun. Izzy versus MVP, dude. I didn't even think about that. That would be sick. That'd be sick as hell. Not in the Ambro. What's up, dude? He says Izzy was dominating until he got caught. Facts. Nasruddin was very patient though, and he was. I mean, it was only the second round, 30 seconds into the second round. So yeah, but I'm just interested to see what you guys think about him being washed or done. I think him versus MVP would be sick. I think him versus Allen makes sense ranking wise. Him versus Costa would be cool. Like to get Izzy a win. I'm not saying the fight would be fun. UFC at Kudos? I don't know what that is. I didn't say Izzy. I know he didn't say Izzy. That's why I put the comment up. Trying not to curse too much on the live chat because YouTube will. It's not like we're big or anything, but YouTube will just demote it. So I'm trying to get in the habit of not cursing or saying anything crazy. But it is good to see you in here. Yeah, let me know what you guys think next for Izzy. As far as retirement is concerned, like I don't necessarily think he should retire because he's washed outright. It's obvious that he has lost a step. So obviously he's lost a step. One thing that concerned me is heading into the fight, he said that he knew he didn't do the work to beat DDP. And he said heading into this fight, we knew we had done the work to beat Nasruddin. And then you go out there and you get knocked out. 30 seconds in the second round. That's concerning, you know? What excuses is he gonna have now, you know? Move down to 170, fight Wonder Boy? Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't think you should move. I don't know about moving around weight classes too much. I think maybe going down is way too much. Even though Izzy is kind of a smaller middleweight, all I want to say is I don't think he should retire. As far as just the eye test, but if Izzy did retire, right? Here's a guy who has accomplished so much in the sport, had a fantastic title run. I wouldn't hate if he retired. The thing about MMA retirements is they don't last unless your name's Khabib. We need to create beef between Wonder Boy and MVP so we get that fight. Dude, you guys don't want that fight. You guys don't. Okay. I'm not saying you guys don't want that fight. Sorry. I would love to see that fight, but I know what it's going to be heading in. Two counter strikers that have like technical kickboxing karate style. Like that's not going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a point match. People are going to hate it. Probably going to boo it. I don't want that fight. And actually they're friends. They've said publicly they wouldn't fight each other. But yeah, you know, maybe creating a fake beef would be a good idea if you guys want that fight bad enough. But yeah, like Izzy has done so much in the sport. I wouldn't hate it if he retired. Wonderboy fights are always boring, and so are MVP fights. See, Sniff is giving you guys the red pill. Was it the blue pill or the red pill that Neo took to see reality or whatever? Yeah, they just hop around and throw love taps. Yeah, unless they're fighting cans. Right? Nice microphone. Hey, thanks. This is the same microphone. I just got a little stand. I did answer your questions, Cool Breeze. I appreciate your questions. I did answer them. Go back and check them out. But yeah, man, I don't think people want that fight. But Izzy, going back to Izzy, I wouldn't hate it if he retired. I don't think that he's like totally washed. There is a case to be made that maybe his chin has gotten worse. I mean, all fighters' chins get worse, right? And Izzy had an extensive kickboxing career too, so this guy's been in a lot of fights. But I don't know. It's hard. You don't know what the UFC wants to do with him. I think they'd give him what he wants. If he wants an easier fight, give him Paulo Costa maybe. But as far as fighting like another young killer, I'd probably pick that young killer to beat him, 100% at this point. And I didn't with Nasruddin, and to be fair, like on the Ambro said, like the guy was looking really good until he just got caught. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. What should be next for Izzy? Um, yeah, been on for about an hour now. Answer your guys' questions. Um, we need more people for MMA Nerd. I'm trying to assemble an army of MMA Nerd contenders. So hit me up, canway98 at gmail.com. MMA Steez on Twitter, Combat Steez on Instagram. My profile picture is Blob Tang, and my profile picture on Twitter is Eric Cartman. So yeah. As far as everything else is concerned, we'll be doing the show tomorrow, giving you guys the picks for 312 and all the other picks we have for the regional stuff. I'm sure Hank is giving you something Wednesday, maybe Thursday, but I got an interview up. Well, we're gonna record an interview. New segment we're doing. We've got interviews. On the Ambro asks, how often do you and Hank talk? So I don't know how much I should say. I would say like consistently once a week, twice a week, but sometimes sometimes I will get contacted about certain things. So yeah. Benavidez versus Beterbiev or Bivol will be nice. Dude, I told people Benavidez would win, and then nobody listened to me. So people were calling that fight a robbery. I'm like, robbery. Do you and Hank attend some synagogue? Never been in a synagogue. Can't attest to Hank the Tank's how many religious buildings he's been in. I mean, I'm a Christian, not Jewish. But I'm pretty sure that Hank is atheist. So, like, LOL, what? Anyway, we got an interview. Got an interview coming up with Israel Adesanya. Go to our community post and send your questions for Israel Adesanya. Our latest community post. We're looking for questions for Israel Adesanya. We're gonna interview Izzy. I got an interview with the guy, so go ahead and go ask questions for that. We're gonna record that interview sometime this week. Stay tuned for that, and it'll be a normal thing. So let us know your questions for Izzy, and get what? Yeah, we're gonna interview Israel Adesanya. I got an interview with him coming up, so make sure you submit your questions for him. We're gonna have a fan question segment. So yeah, get your questions in before it's too late. Ask the former champ whatever you want. But yeah, man, we'll give you guys another show tomorrow. Go check out the latest episode of MMA Nerd. Hit me up if you want to be on MMA Nerd. I'll try to record some episodes this week. So with that, it's time to wrap it up, and I'm out.